Hello Fiona and Niamh, it's very nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us here to tell a little bit about your service as part of Positive Ageing Week 2020.
Hi, my name is Niamh Flavin. I work on the social prescribing team in Waterford and I cover the city of Waterford and the metropolitan area. So that's it from me.
Yeah, and hi, I'm Fiona Laffin. I'm again a colleague of Niamh's. I'm part of the Waterford Social Prescribing Service and I am based in the county and I cover, say, from Kilmeaden right up to the Cork border and the Tipperary border. So right across the county, the service covers.
Do you mind me asking, what exactly is the social prescribing service?
Okay, so social prescribing was set up to support people and link people in with sources of support within their community. Such things like, I suppose the aim of it was to help people to improve their emotional and mental and physical well-being through linking them in with non-medical supports within their community.
Okay, and who can use this service? Who is it for?
Okay, so it's for anybody over the age of 18. But social prescribing is for you if you feel that you need support with looking after your health. It's also perhaps maybe you've recently retired and you're at a loose end and you want something to do. If you're feeling maybe isolated or lonely, or perhaps you're suffering from a long-term health condition and you want to be linked in with appropriate services or activities.
And what are some of the activities that people can get involved in?
I suppose we work with people in a lot of different activities. We support them, I suppose, to get involved in maybe things like the men's sheds, things like knitting groups, social. A lot of people just like to have that cup of tea with somebody, so we might involve them in maybe a women's group. And then there's also things like education and training, so we might encourage people to go back into education, people that might have been out of education for a long time and really want to upskill or get, I suppose, involved in a course. We also kind of do things like volunteering, so if somebody'd like to just volunteer locally, we link them in maybe with a volunteering service or a CE scheme. So it's really broad, I suppose, what we do, and it's kind of for the person comes with the needs that they have and then we try to facilitate that need. So it's down to anything from physically getting people active in their Men in the Move programme. It could be something like the Living Well programme where they're managing their own chronic illnesses and at the moment that's online. So it's so broad I couldn't name them all, but that's kind of a flavour of what we do.
And how would someone typically become referred to you?
Okay, so if somebody wants to self-refer, they can contact the service and the numbers will be on our bio, so both myself and Niamh's numbers will be on our bio. So, but also perhaps you could maybe ask your GP to refer you on to us, or any health professional that you're actually involved with can refer you to us. And then we would give you a call. If you weren't to self-refer, if somebody referred you on, we will actually make the first call, then we'll call you and we will set up a meeting with you.
And I suppose at the moment we've had to change a lot of things of how we do them. So how do you reach out to participants and get them involved in the service?
So, as Fiona said, once somebody agrees to be involved in the service, we will contact them and make that initial meeting. Some people, I suppose, at the moment are anxious around meeting, maybe face to face, so sometimes it's a phone call just to kind of tell them a little bit more about the service, who we are, and kind of make that connection with people. And then if people are willing and want to, we do have offices throughout the city of Waterford, city and county. And I suppose we want to make them as accessible. So we have kind of primary care health centres, and then we also have kind of maybe family resource centres or community centres. So we have a range of centres that we can kind of encourage people into, and we try and get it to as close to where they are living, I suppose, so that they might have a bus route or something like that. Once they come to us then, we would sit with them. It's very informal, just to say that. It's very warm. I hope you can get that from myself and Fiona, that we want people to feel at ease. It's for anybody who may just want some kind of support to know what's out there, as Fiona said. So once they come in, we explain that again to them, and we just really listen to their story, listen to what they want. So it's people-centred, I suppose, and it's their need. It's not what we want them to attend. And then I suppose it's our job then to listen and make a plan with somebody and kind of say, okay, let's decide maybe 2 or 3 things that we're going to progress with you. And then from there, they agree that that might be what they'd like to do. And it's our job then to get the activities in place for them. And I suppose just also to say, with the people we may be working with, that, you know, when people walk through the door, they may be anxious and nervous, and that's okay. And that's why we're there for people. And then on the other hand, when we go to an activity with them, whether it's maybe the coffee morning or the fitness group or whatever it is, we can be there at that door as well. So I suppose it's really, it's not hand-holding, but it's a supportive process for people, because sometimes the biggest obstacle is getting through the door of the activity, and once they're there, they don't want us anymore then, so that's our job done.
And we spoke with Stella earlier on, who was telling her story about being part of the service, and one of the things she was even saying was that thing of a cup of tea, just meeting somebody, and you were saying that you found a way around that at the moment, working towards that. Yeah, like I suppose in Waterford City we do have a service through Healthy Waterford that offer you, me and a cup of tea, and people just meet together and in a local coffee shop, and it's supplied the tea and coffees and stuff. And I suppose sometimes, as we were saying, it's not the activity itself, it's the connectiveness. It's people coming together and feeling part of a group or part of something, because so many people might be isolated and lonely at the moment and feeling that they're not part of the community, and maybe a cup of tea is enough for people, and we can support people to get to those kind of groups. And I suppose just before we finish up, just where are you based? And again, people can contact you, I presume, themselves.
Okay, so we cover the whole of County Waterford. So Niamh looks after the city, and she's various different meeting spaces in the city, which they're all kind of on a bus route. Which is great. They're very accessible for people. And then I look after people in the county. So again, to make it as accessible to as many right across the county, I have a meeting space in Portlaw. I also have 2 meeting spaces in Dungarvan town, and then Cappoquin and Lismore as well. So we're trying to, again, try and make it as accessible to as many people right across the county as possible.
You mentioned about being based in Waterford, and that's, I believe, where it kind of all got started. Are you expanding out to the other counties?
Yeah, I suppose right across Ireland there's social prescribers in lots of different counties, and in the southeast at present there's one in Kilkenny, and they're currently looking to employ somebody in Carlow as well. So it's definitely continuing to expand right across the country.
Ladies, thank you both so much. That was very informative, and we've learned so much from you. Thank you very much. Stella, it's lovely to meet you. Thank you very much for joining us here for Positive Ageing Week 2020. So we're talking today a little bit about social prescribing service, and I was wondering if you would tell us a little bit about your experience of social prescribing service. So who referred you to the social prescribing service?
It was a doctor. Everything was shut down at the time, a bit depressed. So he said, why don't you go somewhere near you in the Sacred Heart in Kilcone? So I said yes, and I went there. Before that, now I was in the Carers Association, the Carers Association, which I'm still in, and I'm with Slieve Keel Group, and I'm with Mags in the Yellow Road, Friday morning group, coffee group.
So Stella, do you mind me asking, what made you go to the doctor to say, I need to do something
Well, he's
different?
my doctor anyway, so he said to me, you're very down in yourself, and I said, I am. I'm a bit depressed, everything stopped, like everybody else, like. So he said, I'll recommend you to go to Sacred Heart in Kilcone, which is near you. Okay. So I said I would.
So everything else, as you say, had shut down
Yeah.
that you used to go to, so
Yeah.
there was nothing to get out
Yeah.
to. And what activities do you get involved in there?
Well, there's nothing going on at the moment because they have to be very careful. So there's only a knitting group there. I'd like to see quizzes there for older people, which there's never a quiz for older people in their 70s, 80s, who remember the old films and the old songs. And it would be very nice for them and fun. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you've been involved in the programme, what kind of things have you done in the past?
I'm always a bingo caller. Yeah. I like making people happy. Yeah. I like to see people winning. So I love to be able to call the numbers, you know. Yeah. And I'm doing that now since I was about 40, you know, calling numbers. Okay.
So in the social prescribing service, you mentioned a list of things that you were involved in the past. What was it about those that was so helpful to you?
Well, the Carers Association was the very first. My husband died of Parkinson's disease, and I was caring for him for about 7 years, you see, and I was with the Carers Association. So when he died then I was a past carer, so I'm still there, you know, and it's very helpful, and they do very good things. They help people fill out forms and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what other kind of groups have you got involved in?
Another thing.
Yeah, what other thing?
I'm with the Sleeve Keel group, they call. It's in the health centre up in the old school, up in Presentation School, the health centre in there. It's called the Sleeve Keel group, and we had a great time there. We used to go off on little bus tours, go away for a holiday for 2 or 3 days, but all that stopped too. So everything stopped.
Everything is stopped at the moment, so it's hard going. But you're finding though to have the connection with the group at the minute is still useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's important to you. For you, what is it about connecting with people that's so important, Stella?
I think it's very important because you feel you're on your own if no one calls you on the phone. If no one calls, you feel you're completely on your own, you know, and that don't feel right. No. And you have to remind yourself that everyone is on their own, that everyone is the same boat. You have to keep reminding yourself of that. You know.
That's it. But the getting out when you can get out is brilliant with the different activities you can do.
Yeah, just a bit of shopping, home again.
And with the social prescribing service, it's the different activities that you enjoy doing with them, I presume.
Yeah.
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 That they've helped keep you going as well. What else would you enjoy doing?
I'd like to include older people in things, you know what I mean? Yeah. I'd like to get on to WLR and say to them, why don't you play songs for the older people Sunday morning? Which you don't. Okay. It's all rock songs, and it's all that we don't even recognise. And I'd love to be brave enough to say to them, look, play an old few songs, play a few female songs, you know, that older people enjoy. Yeah. You know, but they don't. They seem to forget older people. That's what I feel.
So being part of the different groups that you are gives you a connection with your age group, which is important. And reaching out and helping others is important here. Yes. Has it helped lift your mood, being involved in it?
Yes.
It has made a difference?
Yeah.
You feel brighter?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, and better, and healthier in yourself?
Yes.
And you said it's about reminding yourself there are others out there?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you any advice for anybody to say about going out to get involved in programs?
Well, I have, yeah, because I notice a lot of young people have suicidal thoughts, which is very sad. And I think as well as old people, younger people should get involved. Okay. Especially young men, you know? Yeah. They should get involved with things. Okay. And especially at a time like this, they must be more depressed than ever.
So get out and get involved.
Yeah.
Stella, thanks very much for taking part in Positive Ageing Week 2020.